Hello, everyone. Wow, it's been a long time. Great to see folks. It's funny today because we have some people here who've registered. I've got a bunch of people on YouTube. I have a bunch of people on Facebook. So we're sort of all over, which is great because here we are, and this is what it's all about. And so thank you guys for tuning in. It's summertime. It's a beautiful day out, or it was here in Los Angeles. So it's a great way to sort of wind up your day, pre-dinner poetry, and so forth. Another wonderful lineup. I have something to share with you guys all over the world, our poets as well. We won an award. So yeah, here you go. We won. This was our first award, the first time we've ever submitted to anything, but it's called a video award, and we got a gold, and that was pretty good. So it's for our channel. So it's our channel, which is filled with content, and the content obviously is created by all of our wonderful poets and our actors and playwrights and directors. So thank you guys so much for contributing, for using this platform to go and extend your voice and share with the rest of the world. It's really wonderful. We have no intention of stopping anytime soon. So, again, thank you. And obviously, it's what we do. We do quite well. So that's great. Upcoming schedule. We have believe it or not, we've been quiet for a little while, but we do have a bunch on the docket. So we have a one-woman show coming up. We have a few other plays that will happen within the next couple months. So be sure to check our schedule. You can check it on smartphonetheater.com, or we send out blasts here and there. So don't go away. There's stuff. And if you're a playwright, always feel free to reach out to me with work. I read all the time. Todd at smartphonetheater.com. Okay. Remember to donate. We have a donate button on the main website. Again, smartphonetheater.com. That's our big button. So donate whatever you feel is appropriate, and that's how we keep the lights on. So please do it. Do it frequently. Do it often. Tell your friends, and so forth. All right. Enough of me blabbering on and on. Let me introduce you to tonight's poets and tonight's lineup. We're going to start off with Devon O'Brien. And then we have Rick Sandack. Hello, Rick. And then Fance. And that's Kevin Kelly, who came on really early, but we're always happy to see Kevin. So, oh, he disappeared again. There's Fance. And then we have Elaine Madsen. Hi, Elaine. Come on in. There we go. There's Elaine and Don Norman. Hi, Don. Shirley Sniderman. Hi, Shirley. Joseph Walsh. Smokey Miles. Hello, Smokey. And Kevin Kelly. Now, Kevin, you can turn on your camera. The suspense. Wow. Incredible. Okay, guys, we're going to start with Devon. I'm going to turn off my camera. I'm now only in voice. Devon is going to take over, and then we'll see you also for a talk back at the end. Okay? So, all you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This poem is called 12-2012. Olivia and Aviel, Benjamin and Jack, Dylan and Daniel, Catherine and James, Anna and Noah, Caroline and Emily, Jessica and Allison, Madeline and Josephine, Charlotte and Jessie, Chase and Grace. They suffered not for very long, not for very long. May there be some solace in this, O grief-gone parents, brothers, sisters, uncles and aunts, grandparents, and cousins too. They live not for very long, not for very long. This is terrible, and this is true. All citizens bear your loss with you. Show us their little bodies, Newtown B. Let us see what these parents see. Why should these bear the bullets alone? We are all parents, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, grandparents, and cousins too. These woods are used to a bang and a crack, yet we cannot bring these babies back. Show us their wounds. The Newtown blood stains us all, gun bearers or not. Let us see what this law permits, what this antique amendment has wrought. Mommies of Newtown, daddies of Newtown, brothers, sisters, uncles and aunts, grandparents and cousins too, open your doors if you can. Speak on your doorstep if you can. Oh, how can we ask anything more of you? Come out by the flagpole, cry by the Christmas tree. Why should you suffer sequestered? Make us bear the sight of you. The sight of you sears us. Let these babies shock a nation, becoming a shield to protect all children and all others. These first graders of Sandy Hook Elementary took Bushmaster bullets. They can change the world. Mommies of Newtown, daddies of Newtown, brothers, sisters, uncles and aunts, grandparents and cousins too, come out of your houses, stay on your streets, light your candles and light your Christmas trees. Let Newtown be the center of Christmas. The nation holds a vigil for you. These first graders of Sandy Hook Elementary took bullets over and over. It's all over. It's all over. Our weak words to comfort you, mommies of Newtown, daddies of Newtown, and all of the families of Newtown too. Our actions can make them more than victims. The boys will be heroes, the girls all heroines. As we move on from what happened here, let it not turn into something that defines us. Robbie Parker, father of Emily, managed to utter into microphones. Let's let the dying courage of Dawn and Mary, Victoria and Lauren, Anne Marie and Rachel and Nancy steel us to unwrite this right. The first graders of Sandy Hook Elementary may change the world, making the country safer for others, unimaginable sacrifice, so utterly horrible, so entirely unforeseen. 20 mylar balloons, each affixed to a bridge by a string and bobbing skyward, may prove a fragile but solid fence against firearms. Mommies of Newtown, daddies of Newtown, and all the families of Newtown too. Oh, how can we ask any more of you? Open your doors if you can. Speak on your doorsteps. Do not spare us. Appall our nation. Sear us so, Olivia and Aviel, Benjamin and Jack, Dylan and Daniel, Catherine and James, Anna and Noah, Caroline and Emily, Jessica and Allison, Madeline and Josephine, Charlotte and Jessie, Chase and Grace, your children will not have been slain in vain. Thank you.
Hey y'all, I'm Rick, alcoholic. Whoops, sorry, wrong meeting. So yeah, last Valentine's Day I entered Virgin Atlantic Airlines Tickets to Love contest by submitting a 100-word essay on why I want to find love in London. And Best Day wins a complimentary weekend with all airfare paid and all that great stuff. So here's what I wrote. To fly or not to fly, that is the congestion. Whether 'tis bolder to fly across the pond, to meet a redhead or a blonde, or flee in fear of intimacy. But oh, how sweet to meet a last name Puffin and share an English muffin. What joy if I should catch her with skin like Pippa Middleton and hair like Margaret Thatcher. And yet I'm torn between affection and rejection. To fly, to flee, fly, flow. Should I stay or should I go? 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. Wearing COVID-19 face masks, were we suddenly to kiss? Ah, there's the rub. For wishing snubs the quivers that unexpected love delivers. For 'tis action that begets the girl to twirl in a weekend whirl, with no parting to such sweet sorrow, because we'll meet again on Facebook tomorrow and tomorrow. I didn't win. So this next song is dedicated to my sister-in-law, Debbie. It's called the Passover Song. Well, hello, everybody, and a fine how do you do. I'm the spirit of Elijah, and I'd like to read my poem to you. It's a little rhyme I wrote about the history of the Jews, dating back to Bible days when it was breaking news. Now it's about this dude named Moses, but his close friends called him Mo, and how he begged the Pharaoh to let my people go. But the Pharaoh was a tyrant, all cruel and highfalutin, just like that evil little dude named Vladimir von Putin. Hell no, said that old Pharaoh, I won't let your people go. I need them yids to build my pyramids and make me lots of dough. So Moses told the Lord of hosts that the Pharaoh was impious. Then God slaughtered all his sheep and gave him the heartbreak of psoriasis. Now the Pharaoh's really angry, saying, excuse me if I'm crass, but you can tell that lowlife God of yours that he can kiss my royal ass. So alas, it came to pass that God unleashed 2 million locusts that ate all the Pharaoh's grass. Now the Pharaoh's really fuming, saying I'm through being Mr. Nice. So God flooded all his houses with crickets, frogs, and lice. Then God sickened all their livestock and burned their wheat and corn, and passed over their unmarked houses to slay their beloved firstborn. Okay, you rule, said that Egyptian fool, who'd finally had enough. Then he freed 10,000 Jews who packed up all their stuff. But wouldn't you know that two-timing Shemo done up and broke his promise? He dispatched his men to enslave them Jews again like a no-good doubting Thomas. So the Jews made haste with no time to waste or dawdle in the sun, no time to bake our matzah cake known as flatbread on the run. Then, miracle of miracles, God split that sea of red, drowning 10,000 Egyptian soldiers who washed up good and dead. And that is why on this night of nights we eat unleavened bread. So here we are blowing our shofar some 5,000 years later, free from Egyptian bondage at this beautiful sit-down Seder. And we pray for all God's children, especially the people of Ukraine, who've suffered so much heartache, so much misery and pain, and all because of just one man full of hatred, full of sin, a modern-day pharaoh named Vladimir Putin. And the only way out, without a doubt, is to send 10 plagues to him. And that is why on this sacred night we thank the Lord our God who chose us, and to celebrate this holiday known as the Days of Wine and Moses. Thank you.
Hi, my poem is called Sight Vision. I saw you. You came, you arrived on this powerful, seductive energy, the perfect erotic storm. I saw you. The elegant way in which you tilt your head back when you laughed and the whole world heard. The sly way you looked at me when you thought no one else was watching. The seductive way you bit your lower lip as you swayed to your favorite love song. I saw you. Your worldly, eclectic music taste. Your passion for flavorful, exotic cuisines. Your boundless creative energy waiting to be unleashed. I encouraged you to be patient. I saw you. Your breathless anticipation of my amorous touch, my secure embrace, my heartfelt kiss. I saw you. The intimate way you use your fingertips to explore the might in my arms, my chest, my back, The same way a drop of rain would caress the leaves and the branches and the trunk of a mighty oak. I saw you, the way your loving gaze looked right through me, into my heart, into my spirit, into my soul. I saw you, not just your physical beauty. You were and are so much more than that. I saw all of you. Thank you.
Strange bedfellows, war, trauma, and success. From each we beg survival, but once achieved, survival must be amended through passage to the place where survival's raw material transmutes into what lies beyond. Survival, untransmuted, eats the survivor alive. This is called contentment's mask. Contentment wears a mask that can only be removed by an encounter with itself, for it arrives attired in the simple. Watching the colors of sunset playing with the color of dusk on the mountains, sipping cognac in the moonlight, listening to crickets playing a night song, at the side of someone who values the immensity of symbol with you. Then contentment smiles to itself. This is called sand's shape. Water, ideas, and love have no shape or power or defense against unpredictability unless wielded with intention. This is about a protest. Protest stolen. Urban terrorists at the ready seized the protests, unleashed the rage of disparity, igniting the fever of opportunism and running amok, paved sidewalks with broken glass, set fire to structures, wrenched open the doors of commerce with armloads of random merchandise seized for a momentary sense of vindication and exhilaration, which evaporated as they ran. Our city's life as we knew it smolders still this morning. This one is called Addiction's Snare. Rage is a choice, made at first in confusion, which, with repeated use, becomes comfortably consumed as excuse. Infused with alcohol, the excuse congeals into a carapace, shielding the wearer from the havoc his addiction snares around loved ones, who in turn discover there be no escape except severing the cords that bind us to our own addiction to our addict. I am the answer to a clue I had not read in a cosmic crossword puzzle where guilt lies east of regret in the geography of its pen, and the grid where the answers were to have been inked is a fetid sinkhole which has eaten its face. Thank you.
Hello. I've got 4 short poems, 2 of which are related and 2 of which are not related. Fortunate one. Providence, fortune, fate, destiny. To you and others like you, I say, fuck off. I do not want your gentle remonstrance to hope. I have no use for your promises, or more to the point, I am done with the disappointing randomness of your favor. You're a false witness, a partner with hidden motivation, a broken vessel. You are thin ice. You're a butterfly for whom my hand is no longer outstretched. My hand is set to the tiller, my back bent to the oars, my eyes fixed on my own distant and shifting horizons. If you should happen by chance of wind or unfathomed inspiration to land upon my creased brow, I shall not wave you away, as I shall not bow in gratitude. These are two poems to my inner critic. To my critic, part 3. You say I have no business making art with words or bodies. You see my attempts and turn away in disgust using fecal adjectives. You never offer alternatives other than quit and just give up. I think you must want to save me from humiliation, my longtime companion, but you never say why. You hate everything I've ever done. You just keep screaming at me to hide, and I listen too often. To my critic, part 2. All your words are erupting volcanoes, liquid earth eating at resistance. Unpredictable yet ever-present rumbling threats, always carving more deeply the molten pyrotics through my landscape. I try reason, I try understanding, I try capping the crater to trap your voice beneath a cold gravestone. Nothing works for very long. So again, I retreat to some deep hole. Even my premature grave does not prevent me from burning. This is titled Angels. I've never been to Berlin, but I understand they have angels sitting atop Tiergarten, watching, waiting. Probably they are here as well. Perhaps one is sitting on the corner of that building right there, where the red brick meets the white, watching, waiting, silent, desire under glass. And after all, what can angels do beyond reminding me by their powerless strength of my terrible freedom? Thank you.
I will be reading 2 pieces tonight. The first piece is a tribute for all the friends and families who have lost loved ones in Buffalo, Uvalde, and Highland Springs. I call this the holes in our lives. When a parent dies or a spouse departs, where do we go to mend our hearts? How do we fill the holes in our life? When the child leaves home and does not return, how do we quench that stinging burn? How do we fill the holes in our lives? We savor the memories, we hold on to their dreams, we wrap ourselves in their loves and their schemes. And in time, that's how we'll survive. And perhaps soon again, we'll thrive. And if the world won't see all the pain we feel, Where do we go to be safe, to be real? How do we fill these holes in our lives? Savor the memories. Hold on to their dear, sweet dreams. Wrap ourselves in their love and their schemes. And in time, we will survive. And that is how we will fill the holes in our lives. Sometimes in the dead of night, when sleep eludes me, I think of all the people in my life I have lost through the years. I cling to their memories we shared, and I fight back some tears. The longer I live, the longer the list. And as time rushes by, I find there are more that I've missed. Some just came and stayed for a while, left for no reason, but left me with a smile. Others lingered as time took its toll, and then left abruptly as if called to another household. And then there were those who wore down my resistance. And when they left, I breathed a sigh of good riddance. And I can't forget those that I've loved so dearly. And like a balloon in a gust of wind, they floated away before I had a chance to say, "Don't leave, please stay." Others moved away to another state or even to other shores. Those are the ones I really missed more and more. And as the grandkids moving off to college, so full of promise and grace, not knowing how much they're leaving has caused an empty space. And some of them are still here, although their memory is measured. Their tactile presence and shy smile gives a sense that I've treasured. So even if I'm not in contact with those who have gone away, their presence is still with me, and I sense them every day. As some of my memories fade away and I cling to just a few, how often I have said we are all just passing through. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joe. Got a few poems here. He sits, he's agitated, his heart beats, his eyes open and then shut again, his heart beats. He hums within, he picks up his heart, cups it in his palm and pets it like he would a frightened bird. The bird's beak is open, its eyes are startled. He continues to comfort and soothe. The sound of his heartbeat gets quiet. The bird calms. It's his heart again. He puts it back inside himself. The bird sits poised. He opens his eyes. The bird flies off. This is called Lake and Spiders. They say there are fish, and a girl in old-fashioned dress is said to have been seen perfectly preserved in its depths, so deep and cold, drowned in seasons past. No one knows, but the color of the water is a fact. And the spiders, ridiculous show-offs, endlessly hungry, creating miraculous works of art for the sake of a snack. Questions arise. But what would a spider be without danger and delicacy, spinning out a tensile thread so strong the astronauts do something with it, or so it is said. Miracles of science, or the devil's playground. Yet they are not idle hands. It's a stitch in time with them like all get out. And when you knock them down, they build again. I'd certainly give up, weep, pray, kick and fight, curse and say I'm right. Them not caring what I do, go ahead, take a broom to it. I'll have something better done by noon while I sit here, think and lick my wounds. The hospital. The pelican collapses like an old kite in the hospital bed. The nurse arrives with the juice and jello. There are last gasps, each one of them a fake as the balloon reinflates and takes shape. All of those in the shuffling ward, asses half out of paper dresses, stop to watch the virgin birth of time into space. An unwavering note is heard, but no one hears the single voice. Acoustic tiles pockmarked from some ceiling pox fall away, betraying a hollow infrastructure of sticks and mice. until the roof, freed from the ceiling, exhales the blessed miracle of the moment. The broken kite rising, untangles, reassembling, its paper back like sails, and everything too bright. The ward empty again, reappears, the buzzers back in place, quietly buzzing, the sleeping, calm, neither dreaming, disturbed, or afraid. And I got a couple little short ones. Lonely girl, alone in your golden way, see our guests waiting in their crumpled linen. So still the air is dust. Green eyes blank your awkward grace. I see the lion sleeping in your eyes. And here's a little family poem. Oh, my eyes, the light, the mad daughter throws up her hands, chairs fly as the birds walk in circles and peck in the dark. Thank you.
What's on my mind? What's on my mind? It's only my hair. No, my mind is a construct. It's not really there. I thought that I thought, or perhaps that's not true. I once had an idea. Did it once come from you? I'll give you some thoughts from my non-existent brain. Have I been drinking like Lincoln or just going insane? I cannot tell you. I really don't know. My construct has interrupted the flow of my flow. And the flow of my flow was one thought after another and another and another. I can't keep track of it. Oh, brother. I got this to do today and that, but I'm not sure which I should do first. Dig sounds or dig a ditch? Should I think thoughts that are philosophical or such? Or give in to physical urges and go and find some sweet touch? What a brain, what a mind. It's gone run amok. Sometimes it can shine, sometimes quack like a duck. That's me, can't you see? With all of my warts, I dwell in this hell, at least I wear cargo shorts. I beg your pardon, I was in the garden, I've been puttering around, planting seeds and growing weeds, and I bayed like a hound. Hear my voice, you've got a choice, and you're listening here. In your rage, you're engaged, at least for a second, it's clear. Oh, that's me with ADD. Like a frog, my thoughts jump from lily pod to lily pod, from tree stump to tree stump, which reminds me of mushrooms that in the forest do grow. Ah, there's a fungus among us. You heard that long ago. And to think of it, mushrooms contain copper, like a penny or the rock and roll beat of the Big Bopper. Chantilly lace, a pretty face, a ponytail hanging down. Where are we now when the Big Bopper is not around? I confess, I digress. This all started out straight. Then chaos set in. Maybe you can relate to the entropy that's ripping society apart. Civilization has left nations, and that keeps breaking our hearts. So you ask, what's on my mind? And I give you an answer. The meaning might be hard to find, like the magic spell of a dancer. The emotions are in the motion of the vibrating molecules that move like someone who's been kicked by a mule, a stubborn old hybrid, sterile like a laboratory. You wouldn't know it to look at it, but it doth dwell in its glory of being what it is and not what it ain't, its ears pointing up like an immutable saint. But what if I told you I simply want more than to just live a life and to even some scores? What if I told you that I have survived thus far in a world where no one comes out alive? What if I told you That's what's on my mind. Would you laugh or nod your head and want to peel off the rind to find some goodness and merit that could come out of me? If for a moment I got protected from all mine enemies who would rip me, destroy me, and burn my old soul like the lobsters and mobsters who pinch out of control. Or like why we like to watch boxers who beat in each other's brains. It's the human condition. Nothing here is real sane. So I told you a tale, and you heard every line. Now go find a bottle and pour yourself some wine. And please don't throttle me even one time. I'm looking out for my interests, both mundane and divine. And it's your best guess as to what to opine. For now you've heard the distress of the mess on my mind. Thank you too much.
My name's Kevin Kelly. This is a poem called Poetry Didn't Die. Poetry didn't die, you died. That was the impression you made on me. Yesterday, wasn't it? Or was it the day before yesterday? Or the day before that? Or last year? Or was it the year before that? Before COVID? Or was it when you met that girl and lost your virginity on the dark side of the road out in the country on that cold winter night in the back seat of your father's station wagon to a girl whose name bears repeating? No, poetry's not dead. You're dead, bonehead. Go pinch yourself. You're not dreaming or sleepwalking or even sleeping naked alone in your bed. No, you're dead. You can't feel nothing because you're nowhere to be found. You're gone. Nothing but a half-written song. Not a good one or a bad one, not a right one or a wrong one. No wind can reach you. See ya, so long. You're dead. So dead, not even the dead can bury the dead. People didn't think you died. They thought you must have left town or got lost in the shuffle or faded into the background or disappeared into the woods or jumped off a cliff, drowned at sea. So before you find out you're still with us walking around dead, make your will and write your obituary and stop blaming poetry for your death and society's ultimate demise. So don't be alarmed if you still hear voices inside your head and you are still catching curious reflections in the mirror that ghost and gaslight you. Birds may no longer sing for you the way they once did. So don't get alarmed and all whacked out if you can't distinguish the gray between the black and the white, the rich and the poor, the rock and the hard place, the shadow and the silhouette. Accept the fact that all there is a price to pay for losing faith, unrequited love. She's still counting her days. So take a breath, follow it in, follow it down, turn it around, return it again. Look for the light with your head up your ass. Laugh out loud in front of your eyes until you laugh and you cry, both at the same time. And once you make that decision to stop the laughter and hold back the tears, once you did that, it's all over. It's a shame that you stopped your free-flowing creativity from flowing and overflowing and erupting out of your guts because you're scared of going too far, not going far enough. You just didn't want to rock the boat or ruffle anyone's feathers or, God forbid, look bad or, God forbid, risk losing this or losing your pride or being a human being and standing and falling and collapsing and trying at least to rise on your own. Keep it together, bro. Stay in the middle of the pack. Keep the shit down. Use the King's English, not the bozo to clowns. Be measured, be fair. Within the well-modulated, humdrumming white walls of polite society, instead of going for a ride in and out of the circle, within the circle, and the circles that I cannot help but grow and expand the horizon exponentially. Yeah, you died, tough guy. You died, you blowhard. You died, not poetry. You died when you gave lip service to poetry and mocked and made fun of it because you never heard, you didn't share the secret of yourself within yourself or found how deep the rage is within you and how shallow are the waters of ignorance that flood the earth. You think you're better than poetry? Huh, mister? Narcissist can't get his face out of the pool of water, and you can't let go of your cell long enough to hold my hand and take me home? So poetry is what? Poetry is purposeless? If a picture paints 1,000 words, you're a one-note cell phone obsessed bore. Well, you're right, I can't argue. Who the hell makes money making poetry besides a once-in-a-lifetime, tragically flawed, lucky and blessed, contradictory freak of nature? I know it's hard for anyone to believe that these days that for some, making money is not our primary purpose. Poetry will not leave us. It is here for the long run, Johnny. It will remain with us, and has lived before, it will live again. Poetry was there before us, before the beginning of time. Poetry will live after us. When infinite light meets infinite light, and eternity meets eternity, it has lived before and will live again. Like right around the corner, Joe, because poetry exists in every living thing that lives and dies, seeking rebirth and regeneration. It moves in the ebb and the flow, as bodies alive and restless, ebb and flows of souls dead and gone. On the mountain, I can hear lone wolves howling. In the valley, I can feel the ebb and flow of sheep gathering on the flock. In the spirit of famous men and forgotten men and brilliant men and women, mentally ill men and women, homeless souls, weary travelers, families gathering to sing hymns to the unsung, as the eyes of a stranger who sees too much passes the torch to me. My father's hand, mother's milk, mothers in labor, grandmother's smile, glittering gold and prostitute eyes, nurses with red blood on white uniform, soldiers marching shell-shocked in days, priests, nuns, rabbis praying, teachers, senators, kings, executives, drunks, the children who were once we are and will someday become again. And when the veil is removed, the faith of your fathers to love and love and love and love some more. In every strum of a guitar, a prayer is heard and songs are sung from every corner to corner. Lunatics, lovers, monks chanting, hillbillies gathering on lonely hills, country roads, cotton fields, streams, ponds, rivers, grass, flowers, dirt, rock, stone. Here, there, everywhere. Poetry waits to be conceived. It cannot be denied or contained or eliminated. Everywhere. Poetry waits to be conceived in one word, repeating itself over and over again. 20 verses of a Woody Guthrie ballad. Words whispered under covers, individuating themselves in the dark with a cadence and a melody, breaking from generation to generation. Prosperous, dark, repressed, depressed. Generations in rooms with fireplaces down hallways where the key fits the door, where graffiti lays on subway cars and inner city walls, cavemen walls. The first pictures told, the first stories told. Prey, predator, the hunt is shared, the sinner and the saint. Poetry and culture, poetry and cult, sweat and blood and bone and flowers blooming, wilting, crying in the vast emptiness, languishing between the cry, the echo, and the silence and the memory and the memories of stores. Only an ignorant person, an insensitive person, too smart for their own good, trapped in their modern world bitterness. Even garbage can become poetry, held quietly in the right hands. Poetry exists in everything that you are. The fault, dear Brutus, lies not in our stars, but in ourselves. Poetry didn't die. Poetry didn't die. Poetry didn't die. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Beautiful. Another beautiful night. And our audience is really all over the place. If anybody in the YouTube studio or in the Facebook or in the Zoom, if you guys want to text me or you want to put up your hand or anything above with any questions, we have a couple more minutes before we're going to call it a night. But I'm just going to lead off with what Kevin actually started, and I'm very curious, and you guys could chime in on where everyone or how everyone was introduced to poetry. I know we have a mix of artists. We have playwrights, we have musicians, we have songwriters, actors, and some people who have other lives outside of the arts. And I'm just very curious about your discovery of poetry. So anybody who wants to chime in.
I'll be first. This is Todd. Hey guys. I think it's been a minute, but there's a bunch of spoken word activity in the Altadena, Pasadena, Los Angeles area that I was able to experience. And it, much like the passion of each of a performer tonight, it's undeniable. I mean, the clarity, the word choice, that's just so much power in words, and which is why I do storytelling. It's really interesting. Wasn't much of a reader early on, just a doer of things. But when things slowed down and I started to be experiencing words, books, I had a friend who was a novelist, and I realized I had been missing a lot. So I started to go to these spoken word events, and yeah, man, you guys, oof, good use. Well done. Well done.
Thanks, Ty. It was a pleasure to have you in the group tonight. I hope you keep on coming back.
Yes, I was inspired. It's interesting. There's so many dynamic styles here that makes me comfortable realizing some of the stuff that I thought were stories are actually poems. So
Yeah.
I could definitely bring those back.
Yeah, great.
Thanks
Great.
for having me.
Thanks, Ty. It was a pleasure. Shirley, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember loving poetry in school. I remember all the English classes that I took. And then I found such joy in finding words that rhymed. I write a little bit of prose, but most of what I write rhymes. And it's amazing how you build your own vocabulary finding these words. And then I found you guys. I think it's terrific.
Did it, when you were finding the rhyme, did it manifest as a poem, or did it take some other form?
Well, I've written the first piece I read tonight. I did put to music. I wrote the music, and that stimulated me to do that. I think both. It just I'm just so happy to be with all of you guys. Thank you so much. And you're all great. Thank you.
We're gonna go. Let's just jump to Oklahoma. Oklahoma Betts, we have you in the house. Do I have your name right?
It's actually Bettis.
Bettis.
Yes, Bettis, and I am good friends with Smokey Miles.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, he is a big inspiration and a silly spot for me. But I have got to say, poetry for me has always kind of been there. I'm autistic. And wordsmithing, as I like to call it, is just kind of my go-to. So Mr. Don Norman, oh my goodness, you made me cry to my inner critic. Like, wow. I know I'm probably mic hogging a little bit, but
go for it.
Holy smokes. And all of you have given me courage to want to do this, want to present. And I've never done this before. I'm not accomplished. I'm just a little nobody in Oklahoma. But I'm feeling brave, and thank you, Smokey, for this. I don't believe in coincidences at all, and I think this was supposed to happen. So, you guys are awesome. God bless the wordsmiths.
Thank you, Oklahoma, and don't think of yourself as just a little nobody, because Oklahoma is okay.
You're right. You're right. And thank you all for your amazing talent. You are incredible people, every one of you. And Kevin, Kelly, bro, dude, I wanted to hug you so bad, man. You're so angry, and I don't know why. And you're right, poetry isn't dead. Poetry isn't dead, and it will never be dead, because it is a universal language, just like music and math. Poetry will never die. Preach it.
Sorry, Kevin, you're muted only because you were doing feedback. So
Oh, amen. That's great. That's great.
Thank
Woody
you
Guthrie's from Oklahoma.
He is.
He wrote a lot of poetry.
And my husband actually dated a Guthrie. So of the Guthries. So
right.
it's a small world.
Very nice.
All right, Smokey.
All right, cool.
Thank you
Thanks for watching and chiming in, and boy, so appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your talent. You all are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question. I want to piggyback on something that she said, and that is, what was the moment that, and anybody can chime in, from writing to actually performing, to standing up. So she was talking about, just now, standing up or getting up. Have you guys, has everybody performed up until now, or what is your performing history?
I'll go.
Performing poetry?
Yes.
Or just performing?
No, poetry.
I think it's this for me.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing poetry for a long time, but I've never performed it.
Is there a certain energy from going from the paper to your head to your mouth and then out to the audience?
Well, it's great to share it. It's great to be amongst peers and to be able to, I mean, I enjoy sharing it with myself and just writing poetry, but, you rarely get a chance to share your poetry, so that's nice.
Tom, what were you going to say? Kevin, I'm just going to mute you when you're not speaking because we have a feedback issue. Okay, thanks. Don, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say I started writing poetry in grade school, and it's always been my way to understand what is happening internally, because I haven't always had ready access to be able to express or even understand what I'm feeling. So poetry has been my way to access or understand. I tried performing in college because I wrote all the time, but a friend of mine said, I was sitting in cafes in Boulder writing, and then they would have poetry readings, and so I finally got the courage to go ahead and try it, and I had a terrible experience, which I won't go into. And then I didn't perform again for about 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So actually, this has been my step back into letting people hear my poetry. And so thank you.
Thank you. That's amazing.
Yeah, I did it for like, to make songs out of them and make music. And then and then sometimes it gets heavy carrying all the instruments and amplifiers. So you want to be able to do something, you don't need to schlep everything. But actually, some things lend themselves, they sound like they might be songs, but they're not. They're poems. They don't need the accompaniment of the instrument. They just sort of are naked people that stand in front of the public, So you do them.
Yeah, I read my poems to friends, but I never, not really in public. This is my first public experience with my poetry. Yeah.
I've like someone, I think Don said, I've written poems my whole life, even as a child. And then at college, we had this thing called, I'm looking at a poster for it in my office here. We did it at college, a potpourri of poetry. And we would, to me, poems are like songs, and they, I think it all comes from a love of words and wanting to hear the words spoken. And so it's always been a passion of mine, and I love smartphone theater. And Todd for finally going, hey, why don't we do about poetry night? We don't have to rehearse. There's a bunch of people, and we all have gotten to know each other, and it's been a pleasure.
It's so interesting that you say a love of words. I'm always so curious on that element. You know, is it because tonight every evening sort of has a self-ordained theme, and tonight there's a lot of passion of things that are broken, just things that are broken within our system, and there's pain. There was pain tonight, and the expression of pain. So. Very powerful, very moving. Yeah, very, very moving. So I'm, often curious, is that the pain that motivates us to express as artists, or is it the love of words, the love of light, the love of, or a combination of everything?
Maybe our words can heal the world.
Yeah.
Well, I want to jump in on that because, like, for me, poetry is like a cistern for things I can't figure out, like whether it's 9/11, whether it's Newtown, whether it's Uvalde. I mean, when I can't make sense of something, I often want to make a poem because I want to explore it. So, so pain. I mean, I think it's, to answer your question, Todd, I think it's a combo of pain and love of words. So, in my case,
Got it. No, beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
I think any kind of artistic expression is both an exploration of pain and joy and the variations on that. I think for the poet, it's a love for words that brings you to that particular form of expression.
Yeah, interesting enough, my background inspiration comes from allowing an emotion that I did not have the freedom to express from where I'm from. Rough environment, there's the ability to express an emotion that is not popular was not cool. So as I got older, I began to explore that, and I found spoken word events and things like that. And then storytelling came along where I could write about the emotion. Now, I would have to say that it's things that I'm doing are not always tied into really high level pain issues. It's usually just something that I recognize that, oh yes, I want to express that emotion. And I want to do it in a way that's not therapy. I want to do it in a way that's relatable so that whoever's sitting out in the audience can have their moment. And so I won't drive it directly in one direction. I'll just have the moment, what happened, and my humanity about it, and then hopefully that would start some conversation. So for instance, the one that I did tonight was something that I grew up in an environment that was very misogynistic, if you will, and to have those emotions of appreciation for in this case the opposite sex and express it was not the coolest thing. So when I found words and venues to express words, I just glommed onto it because there's so much stuff in me that I had not fully expressed. So there's this well of moments. And as I'm listening to you guys present, it's tapping into some other things that I have yet to explore. So I appreciate it, your take on certain things that I don't have necessarily an inspirational story about, but I felt those moments that they were incomplete, but you guys added information to me for me tonight. So I appreciate that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Guys, it's 6 o'clock. We just hit our hour mark. So I'm going to call it a night. However, with all you guys, I'm going to send you a quick email with a quick Zoom link, which is sort of a wrap up. We just jump on, we do a quick wrap up for about 2 minutes, and then we say goodnight. But to our audience, our virtual audience out there, we'll say see you later. With this, this is
Good night.
We do this
Good night.
frequently. Yes.
Thank you.
Good night. Check our website for the next one. Make sure you sign up, and there's a little button that says subscribe. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you donate. Stay in touch with us, and we'll be back. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody. All right. Good night.